Good morning, all of you. Hello, everyone. Myself Shivam Prajapati, and I am from BWork Software Development of Ramanujan College. Today, I am going to present the topic to you. So, let's start. First of all, we all need to know what is human wildlife. In the first image, you can see there is a raised elephant, and some people are trying to control it. In the next image, there is an elephant who is trying to turn the car aside. It can be dangerous because there may be a people who will not be able to come out of the car. In the third image, there is a leopard who came out of the forest and attacked some people. Here you can see the mistake is both by men and the people. You can see there are many, around 10 to 12 men, just being climbed on the roof and just having stick and trying to kill leopard and trying to attack leopard. Now let's move on. First of all, large scale deforestation. Nowadays, cutting the forest is now become the trend. Everyone is cutting down the trees but not replanting in its place. Wood has been cut for industrial use or the commercial use or the firewood in the villages and the local homes. But this leads to loss of habitat of various animals and birds, due to which they have to migrate to the cities or the villages. That's causing a very big problem. Lack of unprotected area. Marine and terrestrial protected areas only cover 9.67% globally. For reference, you can take that only 40 of now. Yes, Asiatic lions are outside the protected area, and 70% of African and Asian elephants are outside protected area. Even in India, about 35 urbanization. We know that with the increase in rapid urbanization and migration to cities needs to be expanding, for which we need to cut down the trees and make the land fertile and plain. Cities are meant to be developed on by clearing a patch of forest nowadays. Increasing human population. This is the main life conflict. Earlier, humans were limited and they require limited space, but now population has grown up to that level. We have left with no land. We have to cut the forest and reduce the forest cover. Nowadays, most of forest is being encroached by commercial industries, by people for their residence or for cultivation or for collection of food and fodder. Transport network. To run a country, we really require a proper rail network and a road network. But for that, you have to pass through forests and cut down the trees. Sometimes what happens that animals pass through those highways or the railways. Thus, the impacts of human-wildlife conflict. Impact on wildlife and ecosystem. Whenever there is a conflict between human and wildlife, one has to die or one has to injured in most of cases. For example, an elephant, or you can say in India, Nilgai is very famous for damaging the crops. A Nilgai entered into my field. What will I do? First of all, I will try to move it away by my voice, but last I have to take the stick or any weapon for against it. So it can create a conflict or one may injure. For example, you can see in this picture, this tiger has been killed in a conflict. On local communities. When the forests are cut, animals are forced to move on to the local places, for example villages. And those animals, you can see that in this picture an elephant is trying to damage the crop. Various livestock, crops and property is damaged. You may have heard that in Uttarakhand or in Himachal Pradesh, the tiger or leopard has killed cows, goats or the dogs, which is very common there because there is a lack of unprotected area. Next one, impact on equity. The economic and psychological cost of living with wildlife disproportionately fall to those who live near that wildlife, while the benefit of a species survival are distributed to other communities as well. Impact on social dynamics. And a human-wildlife conflict even affects a farmer. That farmer may blame to whom? Government, or a person who is in favor of conserving the wildlife may blame that forests are being cut, industry is reasonable for that, and it's cutting down the trees for its commercial use. Next is impact on sustainable development. First of all, let me clear what is sustainable development. It is the development of human economic growth along with the nature. It means that we do not harm the nature, we do not pollute it, but also grow. Human wildlife conflict has also affected it very much because sustainable development is strongly linked to biodiversity, translocation of problematic animals, relocating so-called problem animals from a site of conflict to a new place is a mitigation technique, but it's not very effective nowadays. In this technique, you can move a problematic animal from one place to another through a vehicle. It is a past practice and not in trend nowadays. We have so many practices other than this. We will have a look at that. Next one is erection of fences or barriers. This is the most common and most cost-effective practice we have now. I have also seen in my villages, people covered their farm fields by the spike walls or by some wired fences, and they are very useful too. Some animals like cow or nilgai don't dare to come to their fields, which is a very good thing. Next one is guard dogs. Guard dogs has a very good history. In Australia, I have got to know that there are many breeds who are especially raised for cattling their animals and sheep. Livestock guardian dogs can be effective and popular way to deterring predators and reducing human carnivore conflict. Use of technology. Nowadays we have that technology that we can track the animals through drones, mobile application and trackers. For example, if an animal is moving towards road or to the railway track, the local authorities can warn people against that, and it can really prevent collisions of animals with vehicles and trains. Next, move on. Managing garbage. In cities, we have seen big humps of garbage which is distributed without any proper disposal. This attracts a lot of animals, for example dogs, cows and monkeys, due to which it leads to human wildlife conflict, which must be ignored. And we must properly dispose the garbage so that animals cannot come there. Next one is effective land use planning. Different land use practices can help mitigate conflict between humans and crop breeding animals. Let me give you example of Mozambique. It is a place where some farmers noticed that elephants avoid and dislike the smell and of chili pepper. So they started growing chili pepper all around their fields. That's why they keep the elephants away from their fields. And now this is becoming popular and many farmers in India are also trying this technique. Compensation. If you want to avoid the conflict between human and animals, but one has to bear the cost of it, that has to be government. The government, in some cases the government system have been established to offer monetary compensation for losses sustained due to human wildlife conflict. For example, in this image you can see that nilgai, or this is a kind of antelope, is roaming. India faces a lot of human wildlife conflicts. For example, in the West Bengal the conflict is between tigers and humans. In southern part the conflict is with elephants. In the northern part the conflict is with tiger or the leopards. And in the agriculture area the conflict with is cows, bulls or various types of antelopes. Data shows that in India, from the period of 2014 to 15 and 2018 to 19, around 500 elephants were killed. And during the same period, 2,361 people were also killed, which is a very huge number in terms of this conflict. let's have a look at some of the initiatives taken in India by National Board of Wildlife. Empower Gram Panchayat. The advisory and NYCDs empowering Gram Panchayats in dealing with the problematic wild animals as per the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Provide insurance. The Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana provides compensation against any damage due to a human-wildlife conflict. Take proactive measures. Forest Department and many other departments at local or the state level has been ordered to create barriers and build dedicated corridors for animals, and also to also make dedicated circle-wise control rooms with toll-free hotline numbers. Last one, provide instant relief. If any human-wildlife conflict is between people, then within 24 hours, ex gratia as interim relief must be provided to him. Now, let's look have some space-specific initiatives in India. Uttar Pradesh. Now it has been declared a state disaster response fund. It comes under this category. Now it is a disaster. In Uttarakhand, the government in 2019 carried out a lot of biofencing by growing various kinds of plant species in the area. It really creates a barrier between animals and the human area. The Supreme Court has closed all the Nilgiri elephant. The Supreme Court has ordered to close all the resorts in the Nilgiris Elephant Corridor. Odisha Attargarh Forest Division has started casting sea balls inside different reserve forest areas to enrich food stock for wild elephants to prevent man-elephant conflict. This is a very good practice. For example, if animals will get whole much for their livelihood and their food in the forest, why will they come outside? The main need is food. Why they come out of the forest? So this is a good way to tackle it. Now, in last, I want to thank all of the viewers of this video. Thanks for watching.